Hello, I'm Liz, and through these tapes I want you to come with me on my journey into the world of counselling. At the start of my journey, listen to the training I receive in counselling skills as a student at summer school. You'll hear about the qualities counsellors need to develop and the skills they need to acquire. Then, stay with me some years later as I work full-time in counselling, putting into practice what I've learnt. Institute of Counselling, Skills of Counselling, Tape 1, Active Listening.
First of all, welcome to this summer school in counselling skills. We hope you'll come to these classes with a positive attitude and an open mind. Now, I want to outline a definition of what counselling is. Let's consider the British Association for Counselling's definition. People become engaged in counselling when a person occupying regularly or temporarily the role of a counsellor offers and agrees explicitly to give time, attention and respect to another person or persons who will be temporarily in the role of a client. The task of counselling is to give the client the opportunity to explore, discover and clarify ways of living more resourcefully and towards a greater well-being. Okay? So it isn't advice giving, it isn't opinion giving, sympathy or practical help, because these short-circuit self-exploration and self-understanding and move straight into our suggested action and not the client's.
I want to learn how to do counselling, but my ideas about helping people don't seem to be counselling after all. I wonder if I can bolt these new skills onto my present approach, or if I'll have to start again from scratch.
So to underline, this is a course training you in specific counselling skills. We do run dedicated courses on other aspects, such as the important area of counsellor supervision. Now, many people attending a skills course for the first time feel they must learn how to do counselling. Well, there's what you do, and there's who you are. You can learn practical skills in the classroom, but developing appropriate personal qualities may take place over a longer period of time. Now, the core qualities of counselling are empathy, genuineness, and unconditional positive regard. Okay, so definitions here. Firstly, empathy. This is to perceive the world through the perspective of the client, to walk in the client's shoes as if they were your own. Now, don't forget the as if. You're not required to jettison your own values, merely to suspend them for the duration of the counselling session. Secondly, to be genuine. Now, this is something to do with not playing games with people. That the attitudes and values you use or display in counselling are also part of your lifestyle, and they're not left at the door when you depart from the counselling chair. And thirdly, unconditional positive regard. Now, in a single word, acceptance. We accept the client unconditionally as a worthwhile person, whatever their situation. Bearing in mind, please, that accepting is not the same as condoning. We accept that at the present time, this is how the client is and how the client sees things. Now, as we go through the classes, we'll also be progressing through Egan's three-phase counselling model of exploration, understanding and action. The aims of this summer school, therefore, are to take you through this model, which will be your knowledge base, to start to develop self-awareness and to focus on the skills which will be your tools in counselling situations. Now, counsellors should be able to use all of these skills with a diverse range of clients who may be in different emotional states. Your competence in these skills will depend to a large extent on how much effort you put into practicing and training.
It's been quite a number of years since I attended the summer school in counselling skills. Now I work for 3 days a week at Waterside, a large organisation where I'm subcontracted in as a workplace counsellor. I have a private counselling practice for the other 2 days, which I run from my own house, and I work as a voluntary counsellor for an hour or so every week at the Institute of Counselling. Waterside is basically quite okay. I've enjoyed the last year. Oh sure, there are ups and downs, but generally I feel it's what I want to be doing, and every day is different. The down at the moment is David, the new guy in management. Can I fix people?
Liz! A word, Liz. Liz, I've seen that Mary has been referred to you because she's persistently late for work. Let's get her sorted out, shall we?
Well, I doubt she's something to be fixed, David, or she would have been referred to maintenance. But I'll certainly give her the time and opportunity to explore what seems to be troubling her. She's not been disciplined yet, and the counselling is to try and resolve the issues before it gets to that stage.
Oh, fine. Yes, I'm sure you know best. But I hope we're going to see some results from this. See you later, Liz.
Later in this session, the skill we'll be considering in detail is active listening. But before we tackle this, I want to outline the pre-counselling stage. The prerequisite is a warm, safe and supportive atmosphere so that the client feels welcome, accepted and listened to. But don't make the mistake, though, of being over-friendly. The client is not your friend. Many inexperienced counsellors make the mistake of offering tea or coffee. If you go to see the doctor, you won't get refreshments. Not at my doctor's, anyhow. Now, this is the sort of thing that takes away from the intentionality which should underpin the counselling process. You've come together at a set time and place for a purpose, and the intention is to help clients work through issues which seem to be troubling them. Before the counselling begins, making an informal contract, verbal or written, between the counsellor and the client at what we call the pre-helping stage is vital. It can address issues of venues, referrals, record keeping, homework, evaluation, boundaries of confidentiality and fees, if that's appropriate. Contracting also works the other way. The policy on counselling is made clear to the client, and the boundaries, the rules, the timetable and the nature of the activity are all clearly mapped out and laid on the table right from the very start. It's like a client's charter. They know what they're getting themselves into.
Come in? Ah, good morning, Mary. Please come in. I'm Liz. Would you like to have a seat?
Thank you.
Now, Mary, do you want to tell me a little bit about what brings you here this morning?
My manager suggested I see you. He said that it might not be long before I'm faced with a formal written warning, and that you might be able to help before it went that far.
It sounds like the situation is perhaps quite serious.
That's right. Serious is the right word, and I feel under such pressure. The thing is, I haven't told anyone at work about what's really going on, and I suppose I don't know whether I can tell you.
These things seem to be quite a worry to you, and that confidentiality is very important for you. Well, the counselling I offer is confidential, within the boundaries set out in Waterside's policy on counselling, confidentiality and accountability. Now, I'll outline what I can offer you as the Waterside counsellor. My job here is to give you the time and opportunity to fully explore what it is that's troubling you, so that at the end of the counselling, you'll hopefully have a clearer picture in your own mind of how you can handle things.
I see. That sounds good. How long will that take?
How long? Well, that really depends on how we can work through these things together. Each session normally takes place here and lasts for 50 minutes.
Okay, I'll give it a try.
The skill we're highlighting this morning is active listening. People find it a lot harder to put into practice than they think. It's listening out for the themes of the client's story. It's listening to what they say and also to what they don't say. Active listening is picking up the client's body language. It's listening for the context which the client feels themselves to be in. Just like when you read poetry and you try and get a feel for what the poet's really saying, it's getting a feel for the heartbeat of the client. Active listening means absolute concentration. In martial arts, when two combatants face each other, they firstly empty themselves of all other distractions and then fill themselves mentally with their opponent. And if they haven't done this, they learn very quickly as they pick themselves up off the mat. Now, let me demonstrate active listening to you. And don't forget that 90% of counselling is active listening. Nazreen, could you come and help?
Well, I'll certainly try.
Now, tell me about something as if we were client and counsellor. For instance, you seem to arrive a little breathless for class this morning. What was that about?
I wanted to ring a number in the newspaper. You see, I'm looking for another car. The phone box was full and wouldn't take the coins. The car advertised sounded quite good. I'm looking for a low-mileage diesel, and these are hard to find, so I went out of my way to find another phone box.
Right, now I'm picking up on your body posture. I'm looking at your general appearance. I'm listening to your tone of voice, your pauses, inflections, sighs. Now, what do you want me to understand? I picked up your sense of relief at finding a car which might be suitable. I'm sensing frustration that the telephone wouldn't take your coins. I'm hearing the effort involved in making the call. I'm wondering how important this all was for you.
No calls, please, Joe, for the next hour. I'll deal with any messages after lunch. Thanks. Right. Welcome to our second session, Mary. Perhaps we can begin today by looking at how long you've been with Waterside.
I work in accounts, and I've been there for about 4 years.
4 years.
Yes, it does seem a long time. Everything was okay until really quite recently. Sometimes I feel it was a mistake to go from part-time to full-time, but the money's okay, and I feel it's helping the family. At least the children appreciate it.
Yes, the form you filled in outlined how you changed from part-time to full-time working, and soon after that, lateness became a feature of your work record. Perhaps the full-time job is something to do with this.
I suppose the job's all right. To be quite truthful, it's never been more than a job which helps pay the bills.
Interesting. She uses the phrase quite truthful. I wonder why. So the job is all right, and the money is a positive factor. We've looked at the job and the money, and both seem okay. So tell me more about the staff who work with you.
Well, yes, we get along fine. Actually, they're a pretty good bunch.
I wonder, if the job and the money are okay, who it is that you don't get on fine with. You seem to get on fine with your colleagues, and you say that the job and the money are okay.
It's not that I don't like the job. That's not the reason why my work's been suffering. It's just that I feel anxious. I feel under enormous pressure because everyone at work thinks my job is the second income for the family, but it isn't.
Some anger coming through there.
I'm the breadwinner, and Andy, that's my husband, is too proud to let me tell anyone about it.
You're the breadwinner. So many expectations, and you can't tell anyone. That sounds like a whole lot of worry and frustration to carry around with you. I can see that you're anxious, and I wonder how you cope with these expectations. Mary is flushing. She seems frustrated.
Yes, the expectations. And yes, I do feel frustrated that I can't tell anyone. Andy is a mechanic. He started his own business about a year ago, servicing cars, but he's never earned enough to keep us. My job was the second income when he was at the garage. Now he earns next to nothing. I told him not to give up the secure job, but he seemed to have all these dreams about being his own man, running his own show. He's so unrealistic. He thinks it's my job to look after the kids and run the house, but he won't face the fact that I can't do all these things and earn the main income. He'll hardly accept that that's the reality of it. Now he mopes around the house waiting for things to pick up. I'm late for work because I just don't have the energy to face life, and everything seems to get me down.
There are certainly a lot of issues and emotions floating around here. Your feelings of frustration about Andy not accepting reality and being anxious about your work situation are coming through. But it's the situation at home which is really getting you down. It's almost as if the world seems to be coming in on you and you don't at this time have the energy to cope anymore.
Look, could you try and get him along to see you? I know that otherwise he'll never change, although I don't expect he'll come.
Watch it. Don't be piggy in the middle. If you feel that will be helpful, it seems that this could be a way ahead for you. Perhaps in the last 10 minutes of this session we can explore ways that you could approach the subject with Andy.
Liz, hello. Could I have a quick word? It's just that I'm wondering how you're getting along with Mary.
Well, firstly, you're right that Mary has been to see me, and secondly, I hope you're not thinking I'm about to tell you what's been discussed in my counselling session with her. Obviously, the issues are confidential.
Oh, sure. It's just that if she says something that's for the good of Waterside, I feel we should all know about it. After all, we all work for the benefit of Waterside, don't we, Liz?
I'm not here to discipline Mary. Anyway, Waterside engages me to help their personnel. That's benefit enough, isn't it?
Anyway, you'll know about statistics from case studies in America. If clients don't show signs of improvement within 3 sessions, they're unlikely to benefit from further counselling. You'll bear that in mind, Liz. Basically, if she hasn't improved within 3 sessions, she's unlikely to do so. And I shouldn't waste any more time on her if I were you. Bye.
Dave has again demonstrated his belief that counselling is like taking a medicine. I suppose even a lot of counsellors can feel that way. I'm not buying into his statistics, though. At least not the way he's trying to use them. And it's not just Dave who wants a quick fix solution. Mary wants a new husband by next week.
We learn counselling skills and develop personal qualities. In what ways could you be a more effective counsellor? The skill highlighted has been active listening. When was the last time you felt someone actively listened to you? What do you think about David and Mary's expectations of counselling? How do their expectations compare with yours?